To the average person, Taoist temples are often seen as serene sanctuaries, detached from worldly strife. Yet in 2006, Shaanxi province became the site of an exceptionally rare and gruesome crime. At the ancient Iron Tile Temple, 10 people were brutally murdered overnight. The abbot's eyes were gouged out, his body disemboweled. Even more chilling, the killer left behind 2 lines of blood-written characters on the altar, as if performing some dark ritual. What was the truth behind this temple massacre? What could have driven someone to such savagery? And what forces, mortal or otherwise, had these Taoist monks provoked? On the afternoon of July 15, 2006, 6 forest rangers from Hanyun County, Ankang City, Shaanxi Province, having completed firefighting duties on Phoenix Mountain, arrived at the Iron Tile Temple in search of water, parched with thirst. Normally bustling at this hour, the temple remained silent despite repeated knocking. Pushing the unlocked gate open, they were met not with an empty courtyard, but a scene of carnage. 10 corpses strewn across the temple grounds. Among the victims were elderly monks and a child barely 12. 7 bodies lay completely naked. 1 had been disemboweled, his eyes gouged out. 2 horrified to quench their thirst, the men fled in panic. 1 ranger told his wife of the discovery, who immediately alerted the police. Thus began the unraveling of this gruesome case. Police soon uncovered further details. All victims died from single, precise blade wounds. 6 were temple monks and staff, 4 were visiting pilgrims. The eldest was 64, the youngest 12. The abbot suffered the most brutal fate: eyes removed, torso split open, organs mutilated, tendons severed. No valuables were stolen. Donation boxes remained untouched. Yet the killer had left other traces. Before the temple's main altar, a paper box bore 2 lines in blood. The ancient emperors forbade debauchery. Violators must die. Adulterers and whores shall not. Dated June 20, 2006. Beside it lay a plate of cooked meat and a dead chicken, evidence of ritualistic acts. The message and intact valuables suggested a crime of passion. Police divided into 2 teams. 1 scoured the temple for evidence, the other canvassed nearby villages. In Abbot Zhong Wanqing's notebook, investigators found another blood-written note, borrowed, 722 yuan from the immortals. Borrower, Qiu Xinghua. The village team located the ranger's wife, who revealed the massacre was discovered only because a deliberately set mountain fire the previous night had drawn the rangers to the area. Later, the temple's accountant, the sole survivor, came forward. He explained he'd left the night before after his wife summoned him home. At around 7 p.m. during his descent, he'd encountered the killer, a frequent temple guest registered under the name Qiu Xinghua. After scouring police records, investigators found no one registered under the name Qiu Xinghua in the local area, leading them to conclude it was an alias. They subsequently expanded their door-to-door investigations across a wider region. On July 26, authorities finally uncovered the true identity behind Qiu Xinghua. The man's real name was Qiu Xinghua, and his current whereabouts remained unknown, with investigators believing he was actively evading capture while on the run. Determined to apprehend him swiftly, police immediately issued a nationwide Class A arrest warrant and offered a 50,000 yuan reward for information leading to his arrest. Given Qiu Xinghua's frequent stays at the temple and recognition among local villagers, authorities were able to compile a precise physical description. Born in 1959, the suspect was in his late 40s, standing 1.65 meters tall with a lean build and dark complexion. A distinctive 1 centimeter scar marked his right eyebrow. As the manhunt intensified, numerous tips began pouring in from citizens who recognized Qiu from the wanted notice. Piece by piece, the chilling details of his desperate flight from justice came to light. On July 30th, at a railway construction site in Wuhan, Suizhou City, Hubei Province, Qiu Xinghua attacked a worker named Zhu Jianping, stealing his black backpack. The following day, in Weigang village, one Fudian farm town, Suizhou, he assaulted the family of Wei Yikai. Wei Yikai, his wife, and daughter were severely injured, with Wei Yikai succumbing to his wounds after failed medical intervention. Qiu had fled all the way from Shaanxi to Hubei. Within just 4 days, Hubei police launched a large-scale manhunt, but the search yielded no results. Just as authorities prepared to deploy additional forces in Hubei, a woman from Qiu's home village in Shaanxi spotted him on a nearby mountain. According to her testimony, On August 2nd, while ascending the mountain, she was struck by a rock. Turning around, she saw Qiu Xinghua hiding behind a tree. He had thrown it. Upon being noticed, Qiu demanded food from her, even offering to pay with cash. Keeping her composure, the woman played along, telling him to stay put while she fetched provisions. Once safely down the mountain, she immediately alerted the police. Authorities responded swiftly, dispatching over 200 officers to encircle the area, determined to capture the serial killer this time. Unfortunately, Qiu vanished once more. The search only uncovered several of his temporary hideouts, along with discarded clothing and personal items. By August 5th, police brought Qiu's wife and children to the scene, hoping their pleas would break his resolve. Yet their emotional appeals proved futile. Qiu remained at large in the mountains. The reward for his capture was raised to 100,000 yuan, but no substantial leads emerged. Finally, on the night of August 18th, after evading police for nearly half a month, exhaustion overtook Qiu. He attempted to sneak back home under cover of darkness, only to be ambushed and arrested by 4 detectives lying in wait. With his capture, the reign of this merciless killer ended, and the case moved to interrogation. What Qiu disclosed during questioning stunned investigators anew. The temple massacre, it turned out, was merely collateral damage. His true intended victim had been his own wife all along. After Qiu Xinghua was apprehended, the first question police asked was why he had returned from Hubei to Shaanxi, the scene of his original crime. Qiu calmly explained he had come back for 2 purposes. First, to see his son whom he missed terribly. Second, to kill his true enemy, his own wife. The interrogating officers were stunned. If his real target was his wife, why had he first committed such brutal acts at the temple? And why wait until now to go after her? Faced with these questions, Qiu avoided direct answers. Instead, he began recounting his life story with unsettling composure. Qiu grew up in extreme poverty. His father died when he was 11, and his mother suffered from mental illness. Short in stature and from a destitute family, he seemed destined to remain single, until he used his charm and skills in appliance repair and seal engraving to woo one of the village's most beautiful women. He Ran Feng. Despite her parents' strong opposition, He Ran Feng eventually eloped with him. At this point, Qiu's face showed a twisted pride. "This was the most remarkable thing I've ever done," he boasted. After marriage, they started a family. Though already impoverished, Qiu was obsessed with having a son. After 2 daughters, he ignored family planning fines, borrowing money, and moving constantly to evade debt collectors, all while pressuring his wife into a 3rd pregnancy. Only when she bore a son did he relent. But his abuse of He Ran Feng didn't end there. Without any evidence, he became convinced of her infidelity, a delusion stemming from his deep-seated insecurity. His unstable work history, failed ventures in repair, fishing, and engraving, left the family struggling. When He Ran Feng complained, Qiu responded with violence, threatening to DNA test all 3 children when he had money. The situation escalated when Qiu became obsessed with fortune-telling. According to his account, a mysterious old man once stopped them on the street, warning of misfortune. The remedy? Find and relocate an ancestral stone tablet bearing the Qiu family name, allegedly located at the Iron Tile Temple. Qiu immediately took his wife to the temple, and indeed found the tablet in the courtyard. He dug it up and placed it under the temple eaves, preparing to worship it. When monks confronted him, demanding its return, Qiu, though outwardly compliant, seethed with resentment. This resentment festered until his final encounter with abbot Zhong Wancheng. What followed became the horrific massacre. After the dispute over the ancestral tablet, Qiu Xinghua lingered at the mountain temple. During this period, he repeatedly quarreled with the Taoist priests. What infuriated him most was his perceptio that abbot Zhong Wancheng looked at He Ran Feng with unmistakable lust. During their confrontation, Qiu became convinced that while ostensibly pushing He Ran Feng away, Zhong was actually taking liberties with her, and that his wife offered no resistance. This could only mean they were having an affair. The whole tablet incident must have been their scheme. Overwhelmed by these thoughts, Qiu immediately took He Ran Feng home and punished her with his fists. From this point, events took an extreme turn. Qiu began seeing Zhong's features in his daughters' faces, though thankfully not his son's. As these delusions intensified, he formulated his revenge, the Bloodbath at Iron Tile Temple. Qiu's subsequent account chilled investigators. On the night of the massacre, He scaled the temple walls under cover of darkness while everyone slept. For Zhong Wanqing, whom he considered the mastermind, Qiu reserved special cruelty, gouging his eyes, gutting him, then cooking his flesh as a satisfying offering to the temple gods. When asked about the murdered pilgrims, Qiu casually mentioned tying up loose ends. He claimed feeling pity for the 12-year-old victim, nearly shedding tears before granting a quick death. Later, during his flight, he killed Wei Yikai's entire family despite their hospitality, again citing the need to eliminate witnesses. Throughout these confessions, Qiu showed no remorse, even smiling faintly as if his impending execution meant nothing. This behavior made investigators question his sanity. He Ran Feng, meanwhile, maintained her husband suffered mental illness. Strangely, Qiu rejected his lawyer's proposal for psychiatric evaluation, not out of principle, but because if declared insane, no one would read the book I plan to write in prison. This outrageous statement made even skeptics wonder about his mental state. Subsequent investigations found no evidence of the fortune teller Qiu described. He Ran Feng denied such an encounter ever occurred. Awaiting final sentencing, Qiu remained eerily composed, composing poetry in exchange for cigarettes. He'd already titled his unwritten memoirs, The Golden Pen Stabilizes the Empire, and a portrait of Qiu Xinghua, perpetrator of the nation-shocking 7/16 massacre. His literary ambitions went unfulfilled. In December 2006, Qiu was executed by firing squad. To the end, he expressed no genuine remorse, only regret at failing to kill He Ran Feng and her family, whom he planned to target next to avenge their earlier disdain. Public opinion remains divided. Some see a mentally ill man, others a consummate monster. With key details lost to time, the full truth may never emerge. What do you think? We welcome your perspectives in the comments. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this case, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow Case Diaries. There are plenty more cases coming your way. Got thoughts on today's story? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. See you in the next one.